So there you have old-fashioned hamburger pie. Hello, today we're going to make hamburger pie, old-fashioned recipe for hamburger pie. For our ingredients, we've got 2 pounds of ground chuck, a couple of medium onions, 2 medium onions that I've chopped up, 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, a couple of teaspoons of garlic powder, about a teaspoon of salt, and a couple of tablespoons of chili powder. Actually, it's probably about 3 tablespoons of chili powder. A large can of diced tomatoes, a 28-ounce can. I got about a 12-ounce bag of frozen corn. And I have 6 slices of white bread that I've cut the edges off and I've spread them with melted butter. Okay, first thing we're going to do is I've got my iron skillet here. I'm going to start browning my meat, my ground chuck. And along with that, I'm going to put my onions on in there. Let it start heating up, let that start cooking. Hamburger pie is a recipe from like the early 20th century, the early 1900s, probably 1920s or 30s. Hamburger, ground beef, some people call it ground beef, some people call it hamburger. I always called it hamburger when I was growing up. Really didn't come about in the United States till like 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis, and somebody decided to use some ground beef and make it into patties, and made the first hamburgers sold at the 1904 World's Fair. And this, and then people started coming up with more recipes to use this ground beef product that nobody had ever had until just, the early part of the 19th century. So that's where this recipe comes from. Okay, our hamburger is browned. The onions are wilted down, so I'm going to start adding my seasonings and dry ingredients. There's my salt. Whoops. And my garlic powder. And my chili powder. Stir that around a little bit. Around the brown sugar. Whenever you're cooking something with tomatoes or tomato sauce, it's always good to add some kind of sugar in there to kind of balance out the acidity in your tomatoes. And it also tastes good. Now, add my flour. Right around. Next, we're going to add our tomatoes. They're not draining. I've got the juices, just whole can juice and all. Gingerly stir that. and our corn. You could also use canned corn if you wish, instead of frozen. Okay, we've got it mixed in there pretty good. We're going to let that simmer a few minutes, 5 or 10 minutes, so let the corn, corn thaws out and starts to thicken a little bit. And kind of press it down so it'll make good contact with your stuff in the middle, your filling. I hope I have enough bread to cover it. So that's going to be okay. So now I'm going to brush a little bit more butter on there to help it brown. A little bit more, about a couple of tablespoons. I've melted it in the microwave. Now if you're not using a cast iron skillet, or you don't have a cast iron skillet, you can transfer the filling to a oven safe casserole and do the same thing. I just try to do it all with one pan. I try to keep it as simple and a few dishes as possible to clean up. Okay, now we're going to pop it in our oven. I've preheated to 350 and going to let it bake about 30 minutes. Just kind of keep a check on it till the bread gets toasty looking. When it gets toasty looking, it'll be done. Well, it went about a little less than 20 minutes and my bread started browning, so I took it out of the oven. So there you have old-fashioned hamburger pie.